I'm all alone again, out of my own again, running from home again. You always telling me you can do better, shut up and show me then. I don't got time for this, I laid on the line for this, told you in confidence, all of my secrets and all of my woes. You took all of my soul, I'm on the road.
Alright guys, we're here with the Where's Raven project, and so far the only thing I've done was take off the tank, take off the seats, and that's pretty much it. So I've exposed a whole bunch of stuff that I've noticed that's just wrong with the bike. I've also ripped out a few wires, so that's why you see these wires here, and when we go to the other side of the bike you'll see other wires as well. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what they had set up to this bike. So these, I'm gonna guess, were the turn signals, and yeah, and then these were supposed to be the headlights. One of them was supposed to be for the right, one of them was supposed to be for the left. They go up to here, and they hook up to the battery, which then hook up to a toggle switch, or was supposed to. They never had that set up. And then for the tail light, running light, technically it should have been the brake light, but they installed the integrated tail light, which is under here. And well, I think it's integrated, I don't know. Anyway, they installed it, and then they said screw hooking up to the wiring harness. They added the green and red from the main wiring harness that came from the tail light and hooked it up to a toggle switch that led up to there, which is the red one that was over there. I found another toggle switch in the tail, but it wasn't hooked up to anything, so they were going to actually use that to hook up the headlights, or no, the brake lights, sorry. Now one thing I did realize, and I'm more than sure that it's the issue with this bike, I disconnected the fuel return and the fuel pump. I took off the deep pressure or overflow hoses off the tank. I got the tank sitting right there. And then I started inspecting the wiring harness because I was curious. This is what I found. So I can get it to show. That connection right there, that black one, I'm going to go ahead and point at it. I'm going to go ahead and point at it. Sorry, I am recording this with my phone for right now. This one right here that I'm messing with. If I can get it to face up toward you guys, you can actually see that there's a piece of the connection that's stuck in there. So it broke off. This goes, I'm pretty sure, to the TPS sensor located on the right hand side of the bike, which is that thing right there. That thing with two holes. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Now, there should be a sensor connected to that, and I don't know if I can see it or not. So I'm going to have to take off the air filter box and the fuel rail just to get to the throttle body and to get to the TPS sensor. Now, I have realized that there's no other way I can get to it, and I have to take off all of this in order to get to it. I don't know, it's going to be an interesting project. I will start posting up videos and episodes of how to do this. But right now I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with the bike because I'm naturally curious. But I think that's the reason why this bike won't run properly. It's because that sensor is broken off. And whoever did it, I'm not going to say anything bad, but I will say that there's no way that this bike was running 2 weeks ago. And if it was, then it's something that they did. And if it wasn't, then it's something that the previous owner before them did. They bought the bike and didn't know what to do. They saw the issue, they put the bike back together, and they put it up for sale. So we're definitely going to get this bike up and running. It won't be today, not unless I figure out how to hook up the TPS sensor to that switch. But that is definitely the reason why we're getting a code 60. that switch right there, that connection right there is broken, and I got to figure out why it's broken and where it broke off at. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more inspections. I'm gonna put this bike back together, and then we're gonna go ahead and start the season off right. But right now, I want to make sure I know what's wrong with this bike, and I'm gonna get out of here before that lawnmower comes over here. So you guys will get to see what's wrong with it when I figure it out. Alright guys. Alright guys, so we're back. The next thing I did was I took off the air box and the air filter. And then I took this off as well. Still has fuel in it. Lovely. So I'm diagnosing the issue. And I want to go ahead and show you guys this. I know there's a lawnmower and I do apologize. So when I turn the throttle bodies are supposed to open up those valves, and they're not. But if I open up the valves after I twist the throttle, this is what happens. So I'm going to do my best to hold my phone with what I got. No, that ain't going to work. Screw it. Let me just twist the throttle, hope for the best. Okay, so I got the throttle twisted, but I can open up the valves and they're automatically going to close. Now, my valves don't do that. When I twist my valves open, they're supposed to open up with the throttle. They close when you release the throttle. I think this bike needs throttle bodies. And sure as fuck needs a new wiring harness somewhere, because I still have yet to find out where this connects at. TPS sensor is actually connected, which is pretty cool. That right there is your TPS sensor. This right here is your TPS sensor. So this tells me that the TPS sensor is not the issue. And I actually do recognize this plug. This plug is actually on my bike, and it's supposed to go up to, I believe, the head wiring harness, which they did a crap shop job with that. So I gotta figure something out. I don't know, I'm keeping you guys posted. Like I said, this is gonna turn into an actual series, but right now this is the behind the scenes diagnosis, figure out what's wrong with the bike. Alright, I will be back with more information. Alright, so I figured something out. That part that I was pointing at, this right here, it's actually not broken. I just remembered that is a connection. But I don't know where exactly it connects to. I don't think it connects to anywhere on this bike because it is a 2006-2007 Yamaha YZF-R6R, where mine is a 2004, and this actually hooks up to something. I am not used to having a wiring harness that doesn't hook up to anything. So, I did reveal the panel. Everything seems to be in order, and I've got the connection here, connection there. These are for the head wire and the gauge cluster, the switches, and the fan, or something like that. They did say that the cluster gauge didn't light up, but it did show power, so I'm still trying to figure out why this bitch won't run. Other than that, how are you? Right now we're just kind of looking around. There's the fuel pump switch connection. Yeah, I did find out that this fuse was blown. The ETV, whatever the fuck that stands for. So I did switch out that fuse. I don't think it's gonna make any difference in whether or not this bike's gonna run. But there is another fuse box that I can get to. There should be another fuse box on this bike. Now, if there isn't, then wow, cool, I guess. But there should be another fuse box on this bike because I have two fuse boxes, and I know it doesn't mean that this bike's gonna have two fuse boxes, but it should. So we're going to keep on digging further. And I'm going to take apart everything. Disconnect all the entire wiring harness. Probably yank out the wiring harness. And then do what I do best and put everything back in and see what I do fixes it. Alright guys, well, stay tuned. I will be back with another update. Alright, so we're back. I had taken off the throttle bodies, and in order to do that, you have to get an Allen key and unscrew all of these bolts. There's 4 of them there. And yeah. Then you have to disconnect all the connections off of the throttle bodies, and then you also have to disconnect these, which is a 10mm wrench. Hopefully you got one. Gotcha! Gotcha, bitch! Anyway, so further inspection. I haven't yet messed with the left paneling of the bike, but further inspection, so far there's nothing wrong. Which still goes back to the throttle bodies, that the butterfly valves aren't opening. So, I don't know. You might need new throttle bodies. I don't know yet. I'm still working it out. I've disconnected the wiring harness almost entirely. And I'm going to do what I do best, put everything back together, and yeah, hope for the best, because this is starting to get ridiculous. I have yet to find anything wrong with the wiring harness. Still don't know where that connection goes, but I think the last time I worked on an R6 like this, a 2006, 2007, that connection actually didn't go anywhere. And I'm talking about this one here. It didn't go anywhere. I guess it was just there because it was used for the previous model, like mine, which I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. It is this connection right there, which leads to the injectors. Not the injectors, sorry, the coil pack. Leads to the coil pack where the spark plugs are. And I've checked it, and everything's connected. So I'm at a loss right now. More than likely he's going to need new throttle bodies, because I'm pretty sure those butterfly valves are supposed to open when you twist the throttle, which I'll go ahead and demonstrate now that I have got the throttle bodies out. So you've got your throttle cables that hook up to here from your throttle handlebar. They're supposed to open and twist. This controls your throttle. This is a TPS sensor. That's also a TPS sensor, which I have no idea why there's 2 TPS sensors on this goddamn thing. Makes no fucking sense. Usually it's just one. That's the TPS sensor, and I'm guessing that's the TPS sensor because they're both the same fucking thing. Sorry, I'm a little bit irritated. So, I'm gonna go ahead and pry this open with a 10 mil. Gotcha! And as I pry it open, I'm gonna go ahead and swing these butterflies open. Give me 1 second, I'm going to put the phone down. Alright. So I pretty much got that pried open. 10 mil. I shit you not. Alright, so now, with that being pried open, I can actually swing open these chambers, or the butterfly valve. But for some reason, it's not wanting to do it on its own. And I have reason to believe that it should be doing it on its own because of this little pulley system right here. I think it's broken. I'm not sure. Anyway, I will come back with another update on what's wrong with Raven. Or where's Raven. Alright guys.